Hey all, Satan here. Just I saw an article on that was passed through around my Facebooks and stuff like that regarding Jeremy Renner and comments he made. It was from Jezebel, which is a terrible, uh, I guess, blog, newspaper. I don't really know what it is, to be honest. But it says, superb human Jeremy Renner cannot be bothered to fight for equal pay. You'll notice what Miss Rachel Verona Coate filed it too. Jeremy Renner, the frog-faced Avenger with the 6th grade boy's haircut, has caught wind of American Hustle co-star Jennifer Lawrence's essay on unequal pay in Hollywood. He's aware that many of his fellow actors are clamoring for the end of the discrimination gap, but he doesn't care, basically. We all know that I'm a big fan of logic and philosophy and everything, so I think it's only important to point out that Miss Rachel over here doesn't quite understand how to make coherent arguments without insulting. The problem with this is that you create fallacies which undo the entirety of your arguments. It's called an ad hominem. The premise, instead of providing a rational critique of a statement or argument, attack the person who advances it. Basically, the statement is false and dubious, or the argument is unsound or uncogent. So if you engage in the ad hominem attack, which is very common amongst feminists and SJWs, then your statements that you make surrounding it can't really be considered to be true. The attack can take 3 forms. Abusive ad hominems is direct personal attack against the opponent, which is what she did. Circumstantial ad hominem attempts to discredit by calling attention to the circumstances or situation of the opponent, i.e., oh, well, this person is a rich white male, so we can't trust what they say. Or the 2 Kuke charges the opponent with hypocrisy or inconsistency. And that's without providing evidence to the hypocrisy or inconsistency. So she continues. According to this guy, Business Insider, Renner will not join Bradley Cooper as a male ally willing to negotiate for fair wages. He said, that's not my job. I don't know contracts and money, all that kind of stuff. And so the importance of this is the fact that it isn't their job. It isn't his job. It isn't Jennifer Lawrence's. And we'll get into what she originally wrote, which caused all this. It's the job of the agent that you hire to know what you're worth and to fight for it, and to not just accept everything you're given the opportunity. He says later on that I'm a performer. I know human behavior when it comes down to that sort of stuff. I let other people deal with it. I do what I'm good at. That's what I focus on. Whoa! What do you know? Someone who's like, you know what? I'm going to let the people whose job it is and who I pay do their thing instead of worrying about, well, do I do this, do I do that, do that. You know? It only makes sense. And then this, are you human? Like, what does that even mean? It is interesting to point out that feminism is so hard. It is really hard because there's no actual orthodoxy to it. There's no statement of what is a feminist, what isn't. I mean, there have been, but not all feminists follow it because they like to make up their own stuff. It must be simple to brush aside, she continues, wage inequality when you're at the top of the payroll. He's not really at the top of the payroll. Jennifer Lawrence really is top of the payroll for women. She has very little experience and is very young. So, I don't know. Talking about the sluttiest comic book character, he made a comment when it talked about Black Widow getting with both the Hulk and his character, that she was a slut. Which, if you're not in a relationship with someone, that's a side issue. So, why are they freaking out about this? Well, one commenter mentioned, and I have all the links down at the bottom, that it is, why do we care what he says? Good point. Why do we care? We shouldn't. The only reason why Jezebel is posting this is because he didn't say what they wanted him to do. And it's pretty sad. let's go to the original post. I'm sure you guys have probably all seen this. Why do I make less than my male co-stars by Jennifer Lawrence? The worst part about this, when Lena first brought up the idea of Lenny to me, I was excited to speak to Lena, who I think is a genius, and excited to start thinking about what to complain about. When it comes to the subject of feminism, I remained ever so quiet. I wish she would have just remained quiet to begin with. Thinking that Lena Dunham is a genius is ridiculous, and I'm not even going to get into it because I don't have all the definitions, and quite frankly, I don't want to get into her. I hate dealing with her. Then Jennifer Lawrence continues, "It's hard for me to speak about my experience as a working woman because I can safely say my problems aren't relatable." And then she goes on to say, when she found out that she was being paid less than males, I didn't get mad at Sony. I got mad at myself. I failed as a negotiator because I gave up too early. I didn't want to keep fighting over millions of dollars that, frankly, due to 2 franchises, I don't need. This comes from the fallacy of composition. Basically, the parts or members have attribute X, i.e. some men are paid more than women, therefore all men are paid more than women. It's a terrible terrible idea, and it takes away from the entirety of your argument. Once again, that's what these logical fallacies can do, is just completely render your arguments worthless. So just because some men make more than women doesn't mean all men make more than women, as there are some women who make more than men. It doesn't mean that all women make more than men. It all comes down to the whole wage gap idea, which is that 77% or whatever of every dollar that a man makes, a woman makes. It's been debunked numerous times. I got a link in the description below about the wage gap that Christina Hoff Sommers, the Factual Feminist, has discredited, stuff like that. She then says, I don't think I've ever worked for a man in charge who spent time contemplating what angle he should choose to have his voice heard. It's just heard. Jeremy Renner, Christian Bale, Bradley Cooper. So she mentions Jeremy Renner. That's one of the reasons why we're talking about it. All fought and succeeded in negotiating powerful deals for themselves. Well, according to Jeremy Renner, that's not exactly true, Miss Lawrence. The reality is his agent did it. If anything, I'm sure that because he mentioned himself, I don't deal with that kind of stuff. I focus on acting. So if I'm going from what she's saying happened versus what he says he does, I'm going to have to go with the guy who's the first-hand source on this. If anything, I'm sure they were commended for being fierce and tactile. See, she doesn't know. She's just asserting these things without any facts or logic behind it. I mean, you can somewhat logic it, but not really. While I was busy worrying about coming across as a brat and not getting my fair share, this has nothing to do with her being a woman, but I wasn't completely wrong when another leak sent an email revealed a producer referring to fellow lead actresses in the negotiation as a spoiled brat. Maybe they were being a spoiled brat. For some reason, I just can't picture someone saying that about a man. Actually, if we were to go back to the original post, which I'll just go ahead and do, it is interesting what Rachel filed that under. That's a little bit more, I don't know, worse than being called a spoiled brat. Being a frog-faced Avenger. I don't know, that's not anything he can control. So, pretty sure, Miss Lawrence, you don't really know what you're talking about. But since you are obviously being paid less, I'd like to refer you to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which the Equal Pay Act requires that men and women in the same workplace be given equal pay for equal work. Jobs need not be identical, but they must be substantially equal. There you go. That is all she needs to do. She can file thing. It says right here, you have 180 days to file. and you have 2 years to go directly to court or to the EEOC. So, I don't know you can really get any further than that. And then also says equal pay compensation, sex discrimination. Title VII also makes it illegal to discriminate based on sex in pay and benefits. Therefore, someone who has an Equal Pay Act claim may also have a claim under Title VII. So you get double protection, Jennifer Lawrence. You can make all the money that you lost. Or was it really discrimination? If you get to what she says, she goes down to the thing that I failed as a negotiator because I gave up early. I didn't want to keep fighting over millions of dollars that, frankly, due to choose franchises I don't need. So she places the blame purely on herself. The fact is, she failed as a negotiator because she gave up early. She didn't want to keep fighting, and because she didn't need it. Boom, enough said. I mean, everything else that she said about that had absolutely no bearing on the discussion, because it's not anything about her being a woman. It's not anything about other people being men. It's about the fact that she didn't want to continue fighting for it. Which, I've seen the movie that she's talking about. She did a good job in it. If her agent would have fought for more, I'm sure she could have gotten more. Anyway, here are all the sources I used. I'm going to put these in the description as well. And thank you very much. Remember, all will be well.